Alright, so there's been a couple people wanting to get bait casters, and their main concern is backlashing them and being able to throw them, clean up the backlash. So we're going to make this video showing what to do, what not to do. What I got here, 12-foot meat hunter and an Abu 7000. This right here is your brake control. Here's the clicker. Here's your spool release. There's your drag. Just starting out, somebody never thrown one before, what you're gonna do is crank this knob down. It's on there tight now. It'll loosen up. You're gonna turn it until it's pretty tight. I got a 4-ounce weight on there. So let's get it ready to throw here. Alright. Weight's in the air. With it set tight, I can push that. No line comes out. Put your thumb on there. The weight did not fall. I can take this, I can throw it without touching the reel. No bird nest. It's not going to go far unless you really lay into the rod, but it's not going to make a mess. I could hand this to somebody that's never fished before and they won't backlash it right now. Do it again just to show you. Throw it a little harder. No bird nest. Alright, now as you get more comfortable with the reel, you're going to take your brake adjustment knob here and you'll loosen it up. Do just a hair each time you do it. Do that, throw it, see if you're comfortable with it. If you want more, keep adjusting. And eventually, when you push that button, find the weight out there. When you push the button, it's going to want to fall on its own. Most people say hold your rod up about like this and turn that knob until the weight starts to just free fall by itself, slowly. Alright, so here we've got it set, weight's falling. And then throw it the same way, except this time, as the reel goes out, you lightly put your thumb here, and as the weight starts to slow down, you put a little bit more pressure on the spool. When the weight hits bottom of the water, just hits the top of the water, you're going to push down on that spool and stop it. A trick to bait casters is try to keep your line on the spool as tight as you can. It creates less problems for the next cast. Alright, now time for some fun. A common thing with bait casters, it's gonna happen. You're gonna get a bird nest. The way bird nest happens is, say you are expecting you're throwing real far, but your weight falls short of your target. The spool's still trying to throw line off the reel, but the line's not going anywhere. Now we've got the reel set really loose, and this time I'm not even gonna touch the spool. I'm just gonna let it bird nest. Alright, we've got a mess. Now, that one's not too hard to clean up right now. It looks bad, but it's really not. What you're going to want to do is you put a little bit of pressure on that spool, so as you're pulling line out, it's not going to keep just letting it knot up. Alright. Here's what we want to see. When I pull on that, it doesn't want to go. What it's done is it's knotted up right here. The line's laying across. Here's your main line. It's underneath that. Sometimes you can pull that, it'll free up. Other times, you're going to have to grab one of those lines that's crossed over and lift it up and pull it out. You might have to do that several times to clean up a big mess, but eventually it'll clean up. Keep pressure on it as you're pulling it out so you're not making more of a mess. There's another little knot. Pull it until it comes free. Grab the main line again and keep going. You find another knot, free it up. And depending on how big your bird nest is, say how far down these knots go. Try not to pull this line out too hard when you're pulling it. When you hit one of those knots, it could put a kink in your line, and that'll be bad when you get a big fish later on. You can see it's cleaning up. If I didn't have pressure on the spool, it'd just keep making bird nests farther and farther until I got to the end of the line. And it's almost there. Somewhere real good. There it is. Well, this is hard to do while holding a phone in the hand, but you get the point. Alright, so it's all cleaned up now. Then what you want to do, click your handle over, keep pressure on your line, and reel it all back on there tight. Don't let it go on loose. Get any knots as you're reeling it back on there. The line wants to twist around sometimes. Alright, it's all cleaned up. It's ready to throw again. Now, right way to do this, I usually will put my index finger on the front of the spool just to hold it while I click the button. And I'll put my thumb on, remove my index finger, all one hand. Spool's still set real light, real loose. From here it works just like, say, an old Zebco or something like that would, the button push reels. Basically your hand on that spool is your finger on the button. Swing the rod, release, lightly touch the spool. Like I said, it's really loose. And another small bird nest in it. This one's not bad at all. It's really easy to clean up. Light pressure. And it's clean. Keep pressure on the spool. Click your handle over. Hold your line. And roll it back on. Through the grass. Problem there. And that's basically it. I'll go over the brake. I set my brake where I can grab that line and I can pull it fairly hard and line will come out. This turns the same way as your drag adjustment, counterclockwise, loosens it up, takes less pressure to pull it. You can set this thing so low that when you got pressure on it, it won't even pull line. The biggest mistake I see is people just lock these down, and that's where you come up with fish breaking your line and getting away. So grab it, some good pressure to it, and pull it out. And that's basically it. If anybody else wants to add anything to it, just comment in the video, and hopefully this will help some people.